Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. So this is beginning Sanskrit lesson 2. We are we've been taking 2 books on beginner Sanskrit. One is Infant Reader, printed by R.S. Vadya, publishers in Palgat in Kerala. And we're also taking this beginner Sanskrit book, Introduction to Sanskrit by Aganis. And so we've done the first lesson of each. And so let's have a look now at Infant Reader, and let's look at lesson 2. First thing in lesson 2 of Infant Reader is, the way they set it out is they don't put the vocabulary first, but let's just have a look at the vocabulary. So if anybody's watching this and if you have looked at it because it's beginning Sanskrit and then you find that there's Devanagari here and you can't read Devanagari, you need to go and learn to read Devanagari, the Devanagari script, which is not very hard. And if you don't know it or if you need help with that, then you can also contact me. Okay, I think we have some videos that you can look at and do that. All right, so let's have a look here. So we have, this is our vocabulary for lesson 2. So starting off over here on the left side, saha, sa, and tat, right? So these are the words for that. For that. That is the word that is like a demonstrative pronoun. So saha is masculine, sa is feminine, and tat is neuter form of the same word. It's the same word, but it's saha, sa, tat. Okay. So then the next thing is we have another masculine word. Remember that a masculine noun, right? A masculine noun, tree for tree is vrikshaha. Vrikshaha. So probably you already know this word vrikshaha. People have heard of kalpa vrikshaha. Kalpa vrikshaha is a desire or a wish fulfilling tree. Any sort of different type of vrikshaha, it would, you could describe, but anyway, vrikshaha means simply tree. Now, there's another thing which is not a tree. The next thing is a creeper. Now, of course, vrikshaha, is what we call akaranta pumlinga. So it's an a ending, even though there's a visarga there at the end, right? An aha, that still we call it a ending. So an a ending, the visarga is the nominative case. The nominative case is shown in each case up here. We have the nominative case of that, sa, saha, sa, and tat. And we have now the nominative case of the noun vrikshaha, meaning tree. Akaranta pumlinga, vriksha, shabdaha is how we say it in Sanskrit. It is the word vrikshaha. It is a ending masculine. Now we have a feminine word, a feminine noun, for creeper. Lata. So we're all familiar with bhakti lata, let's say, the seed of devotion. The creeper of devotion. Seed would be bija. But anyway, so here we have lata. So it ends in a long A, right? And so normally when we see words that end in long A, we understand they're feminine. So, okay, lata, feminine, creeper. Then we have pushbum. Pushbum is a neuter word which means flower. So we see it ends in an M, even though here again in Sanskrit the lata, the creeper would be akaranta, ending in long A, akaranta, strilinga, lata, shabdaha, right? The word lata, right? So then we have pushbum. Pushbum is also called an A ending, even though you can tell the difference because it's given in the nominative case. The nominative case in the neuter for the neuter will be pushbum, not pushpaha. Pushbum. So that's how we know also that it's neuter. Pushbum. So pushbum means flower. Then we have now some verbs, right? Some verbs. So we didn't have verbs. Now we're introducing verbs into the equation. So we were just saying this is a goat, this is an elephant, this is a girl, this is a garland, this is a Pot, this is an I. This is what we said last that was our last story in the first lesson. Here we're going to introduce some actual verbs instead of just saying this is something and having the verb to be inherent and understood. The verb to be doesn't need to be said in Sanskrit. It can just be considered inherent, right? But sometimes there are verbs that mean to be or to do, and they can be used, but in many cases they're not. They're just inherent. They're understood. So here we have gachati. Gachati. Now the root of this verb is gach, and it means to go, right? And next to it there's a little p here. That doesn't mean we're only going to learn p verbs right now. The p stands for parasmaipada. Parasmaipada literally means action for another. Parasmai, action for another. There's another thing, a, which means atmanepada, and it just refers to the different types of endings that are put on these verbs, right? So when you conjugate or you add the endings or the inflections to these verbs, you add a particular type of ending, and we'll learn about that ending both here and in Aganis also. So gachati is the third person singular. It means the verb means to go, and so gachati means he, she, or it goes. Third person singular, he, she, or it goes. So verbs are always, a lot of times verbs are either given in the root form or they're given in the third person singular to explain to you, to give you an idea of how they're conjugated, how the inflections are added to them. So gachati, he goes. Now continuing on, we have another parasmaipada verb. Tishtati. Tishtati means to stand. Tishtati means to stand. Like, so for instance, with gachati, right, we also have another verb, agachati, means to come. So when we say to the deity, agacha, it means come, please come, right? So then we have tishtati. Tishtati means to stand. For instance, in the word pratishta means to make to stand. So pratishta means to install the deity, but pratishta means installation, but it means simply to make the deity stand on the altar. Literally means to stand on the altar. So tishtati means to stand. So tishtati, third person singular, right? He, she, or it stands. Now palati. So palati is another parasmaipada verb, right? It means, right, to bear fruit. To bear fruit. Now you can see in palati, you can see pala. Pala means fruit. Pala means fruit. So palati means to bring forth fruits. So if we say a tree brings forth fruits, we say vrikshaha palati, right? So palati is third person singular meaning he, she, or it bears fruit, right? Then we have patati. Patati. Like this is dvitiya pataha. Dvitiya pataha. This is lesson number 2. So dvitiya means second. Pataha means a lesson. So when we say patati, it means to read, right? Because when we learn a lesson, we have to read it. So patati. So if we say Vishnu Sahasranam patati, it means he chanted Vishnu Sahasranama or he reads Vishnu Sahasranama, right? It may mean reading. It could also mean to chant, to speak it, right? So now we have mlayati. Mlayati, M-L-A, long A, Y-A-T-I. Mlayati is third person plural, third person singular, right? Present tense, of to fade. So remember that garland that we have. If the flowers get old, they fade. They get stale. They dry up. So mlayati means to fade. So if I say mala mlayati, that means the garland fades. Okay, so now we have pushyati. Pushyati means put forth. Pushpyati, I think it's pushpyati. It's a P, not pushyati. Pushyati means to nourish. But pushpyati, right? P-U-S with a dot, cerebral S, P-Y-A-T-I. Pushpyati puts forth. So pushpyati means he, she, or it puts forth. Vadati means to speak. Like we say Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Lord said. Uvacha is a form of vadati. So if I just say vadati, that's singular, singular, third person, present tense, in continuous tense. Vadati, he speaks or he is speaking, right? He speaks. I don't know why we have a spelling mistake here. We have somehow or other on the same line, somebody's put flowers, but this seems to be a printing mistake. Okay, so then we have patiti. All of us are familiar with the term patita pavana. Patita. Patita means fallen. If we say akashat patita toyam, as water falls from the sky, patita means to fall. So patati means to fall. So patati means he, she, or it falls. Patati. Then we have spurti. Spurti means throbs. Throbs. When something is, when you get a pain in your eye or a pain in one part of your body and you get that throbbing pain, spurti. Spurti means to throb. Then we have lasati. Lasati means to shine. He shines. He, she, or it shines. Spurti, he, she, or it throbs. Vikashati, to bloom, like in the sense of a flower blooming, right? Vikashati.
Is it
right?
vikasati or vikasati? It's vikasati, isn't it?
Vikasati. Yeah, excuse my pronunciation. Vikasati. Okay, and then we have looks like chutaha. Chutaha. So long U. Chutaha, mango tree, right? Chutaha, a mango tree, that's masculine, right? Vataha, a banyan tree, that's also masculine. And then we have kamalam, just like we have the word for Lakshmi is Kamala. So kamalam, the word for lotus is kamalam. It's a neuter word, right? Now, masculine, feminine, and neuter words have nothing to do with the things, with the genders of the things that they describe. For instance, you could have 3 words for a wife. There are 3 words for wife. There's a masculine word, a feminine word, and a neuter word. That has nothing to do with same-sex marriage or whatever. That has to do with the gender of a word has nothing to do with the gender of the thing that it describes in Sanskrit. Okay, some languages, the thing has to be the same gender as the word has to be the same gender as the thing that it describes, but not in Sanskrit. Okay, so all right, so that's our vocabulary. Now let's look at the lesson. We're going to look at the little story that we have, a very small story. Okay, so again, we got some pictures to help us along with the story. At the top of the first story, we have here for the page number 14, and on the top it says Samskrita Baladarshe, right? So it means the infant reader of Sanskrit infant reader, and then underneath it says Dvitiya Pataha. Remember I was saying patati, so pat down here. What does it say? It said patati. He reads, right? So a pataha, long A, right, is a lesson. So Dvitiya Pataha, second lesson, and we've got a 2 here to show that it's the second lesson. Now over here we have a picture of a tree. And it looks like there's some coconut trees in the background here, but we have this one big tree here. Don't know what kind of tree exactly it is. Maybe it's a mango tree. And we have the word vrikshaha. Vrikshaha, masculine ending word, means the tree, right? Now we have some words. So now we have the story about the tree. So next to it we have, by the way, we have introduced these markings here, which are called dundas and double dundas, right? So 1 dunda and 2 dundas means a stick at the end of a sentence or a phrase. So down here, the note says there are 2 signs, dunda, or to denote a full stop or a period, right? So the single dunda, this denotes the end of a sentence or a half sloka. So in prose, a dunda will be the end of a single sentence to show you that all those words that come between the dundas are in one sentence and they relate to each other. Whereas in many times in Sanskrit we don't see prose, but we see verses, we see verse form, we see poetry. So we see, and especially the understood slokas, we see with 32 verses, 32 syllables in either 4 lines or 2 lines. right? And at the end of the second line, or the second quarter, or the second line sometimes, or the first line, if the first two quarters are put together, at the end of that we see a single danda. So we can think of that as either a comma or a period or full stop. And at the end of the full verse or the fourth quarter, right, we see two dundas, a double dunda. So that's the only original punctuation that you have in Sanskrit. Now you know Sanskrit pronunciation in full by just knowing those two things, dunda and double dunda. Okay, so there's none of these inverted commas, there's no question marks, there's none of all these things. Sometimes we see modern people have put in these things, but the original Sanskrit only has dunda and double dunda. Okay, so let's go back to our story here. We have I think so. So the first thing here, it says ayam vrikshaha. Now, if we remember from lesson 1, the word ayam means this, and it's a masculine form of this. So vrikshaha is a masculine noun, and it's in the nominative case. The word that is understood here is. So here we have this tree. What it actually says is this tree, but what it means is this is a tree. Ayam vrikshaha. This is a tree. Now we have not this, but we also have that. So what is the difference between this and that? This is closer and that is further away. So this is a tree. That is an elephant. It says here that saha gajaha. Saha gajaha. Again, saha in the masculine nominative case, in the same case as the elephant, as the word elephant, gajaha. So I am vrikshaha. This is a tree. Sa gajaha. That's an elephant, right? Then we have gajaha, the elephant, right? Nominative case, singular. Gachati, the elephant, and the word gachati means he goes or she goes, or it could mean it goes. So we don't need to use the pronoun if we have the noun here as the subject of the sentence. Gajaha gachati means the elephant goes or the elephant is going. Simple, continuous present tense. Simple present tense or continuous present tense. Then we have ajaha. Ajaha means a goat from the first lesson, and tishtati means stands. So goat, the goat, he, she, or it stands. The goat stands. Next one is vrikshaha palati. Vrikshaha palati means the tree bears fruit. So there's certain trees. Apparently, this tree bears fruit. Looks pretty much like a mango tree to me. This tree is going to bear fruit. So vrikshaha palati, right? He, she, or it bears fruit, right? Vrikshaha palati. Then ramaha. Ramaha we know means Lord Rama, right? Ramaha patati. Ramaha reads. Right? Patati is reads, right? What did we say? Patati reads? Yeah, reads. Okay. So patati means reads. So Ramaha reads. Right. So that's the story. That's the story. Now you notice this first part of the story is all masculine words. All masculine words. So again, here it is. I am vrikshaha. This is a tree. Sa gajaha. That is an elephant. Gajaha gachti. The elephant goes. Ajaha tishtati. The goat stands. Vrikshaha palati. The tree bears fruit. Ramaha patati, Rama reads. It's a pretty disjointed story, but that's a little story. Okay. Now we come to feminine. That was all masculine words. Let's look at feminine words. So remember that iyam means this also, but it means feminine this. So here we have on the side lata. Lata means a creeper, right? A creeper, type of vine. Yeah. So iyam lata, this is a creeper. Sa bala. Remember, bala is the word for girl. If we had bala, if it was a short a, it could be boy, but here it is a girl, right? Bala, long a, right? It's a feminine word. So sa bala, that is a girl. So this is a creeper, that is a girl. Right? Then bala tishtati, the girl stands. Mala mlayati. Mlayati, remember, mlayati means to fade. So mala is a garland, right? Here it's assumed that this is a flower gown, not necessarily not a japa mala, or, not a wooden wooden set of beads or something like that. It's a mala. It's that type of a mala which is made of flowers. So mala mlayati, the garland fades. Lata pushpyati, lata pushpyati. The creeper bears flowers, puts forth flowers. Pushpyati. And Sita vadati. Sita speaks. Right? Rama reads, Sita speaks. Sita, right? Rama's consort, speaks, vadati. Okay, so that's the feminine. That's the feminine. Now the neuter. Neuter, we have idam. Idam was the word for this in neuter. So we use that with neuter words. You notice here that if we want to say this is a such and such, right? And the thing that we're describing is a noun, is a masculine noun, we have to use I am. If it's a feminine noun, we have to use iam. If it's a neuter noun, we have to use idam. So idam pushbam. This is a flower, and this is what we say to the deity when we offer a flower to the deity. This is a flower. Idam pushbam. Right? Right? If we offer one flower, singular, idam pushbam. We'll learn about, we have idam, ime, imani, like that. Ime means two flowers. Ime pushpe, imani pushpani. This is two flowers, this is many flowers, like that. So here we're talking with the singular only. Idam pushpam, this is a flower. Idam pushpam. Sorry for the actual printing. You can't see that this is actually a cerebral S, but it is. Pushpam. Idam pushpam, this is a flower. And here we have flower written over the top of the flower, or the picture of the flower. Then tat patram. Tat patram. What is a patram? Last time we learned what a patram is. Not a patram, but a patram. If we look at that, we'll see, right? What was a patram? A patram is a pot, right? A patram is a leaf. So we would say idam tulsi patram, but we say idam patram if we want to offer a pot. So here is saying this is a pot, right? Actually, it's saying tat patram, not idam patram. It's saying tat patram. If we say idam patram, it means this is a pot. But here we say tat patram. Tat patram means that is a pot. So here we have idam pushpam. This is a flower. Tat patram, that is a pot. Patram patati. Somebody dropped the pot, right? So it means patram patati. It means the pot drops. It can be the pot drops, or it can mean he drops the pot. Now, that's another thing. The patram, patre patrani, patram patre patrani. We don't know here whether patram is nominative or accusative, whether it's the subject or the object of the sentence. So it could be that he, she, or it drops the pot, or it could be the pot drops. Let's just take it as the pot drops for now, because we haven't learned really about the accusative case. But so we can take this as being nominative. Patram, and but patram is also accusative case singular. Okay, so the pot drops. Netram means the eye. Spurati, throbs. This is present tense, the third person. He throbs, or it throbs, or she throbs, right? In this case, the I is an it in English, so we say it throbs, right? So we say the I, it throbs, or we can say the I throbs, right? So these are all different ways to translate. Netram, spurati. Now we have pushbam. Pushbam again means flower, right? Singular. Vikashati. Vikashati means, I believe, means blooms. Okay, so blooms. So vikashati means to bloom. So the flower blooms. When the flowers open up, they bloom. Yeah, and they're just buds and they open up. So the flower blooms. Pushbam vikashati, and mukam lasati. Mukam lasati, and lasati means to shine. So mukam means the face, or it can mean the mouth, but in this case it means the face. So mukam means the face shines. Okay, so that is our story. That's our story. The masculine part, the feminine part, and the neuter part of the story. Now comes the questions, right? So we're on the page 15 here. Dvitiya pataha, and the title of today's lesson, of the second lesson, Dvitiya pataha, is Vrikshaha, Lata, Pushbub. Tree, creeper, flower. Okay, that's the name of this story. So number ka, the first question is prashnaha. Prashnaha means pariprashnena sevaya. We have in Bhagavad Gita. Prashnaha means questions. Right. So the first question is number one, saha kaha. Saha kaha. The word kaha indicates that there's a question, right? It can mean who or it can mean what, right? Kaha. So we could say saha kaha means what is this or what is that, right? It could be either what is this or what is that, right? And it's in masculine because we see saha. So what is the answer to saha kaha? I'm going to give you the first answer, okay? Because it has to mean something which was a masculine word. It refers to masculine words because we get a hint from the question. We have the same question here in three genders. Saha kaha. Sa ka is feminine. What is this or what is that? Tat kim. So actually this is this. This is that. This is that. Saha means that. We've got here saha means that. So it's not this. It means, excuse me. So it means what is that? Masculine, saha kaha. Sa ka, what is that? Feminine. And tat kim. Tat kim means what is that? Neuter. Right? These are the first three questions. So can we answer the first question from the story, right? If I say saha kaha, what is that? Can you answer that from this story, the masculine story here?
I am vrikshaha.
No. What does I am mean?
This. So then it's
so if I say what is that? What is that? And you say this is a tree. No, I'm not asking what is this. I'm asking what is that.
So saha vrikshaha.
Saha gajaha. Saha gajaha.
But also saha vrikshaha, isn't it?
No,
I know from this thing
there is no saha gajaha in the story. They want you to answer the question.
To give it exactly from the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want you to give an answer exactly from the story.
Okay. Because I was thinking because saha vrikshaha also means that tree.
What you've said is absolutely correct Sanskrit, but it's not the answer that they want. The answer that they want is they want you to answer from the story, and I want you to answer from the story. Is there anywhere in the story where it says saha something? So here it says saha gajaha. Okay, that's the answer to that first question. If we look in there, there's no keys to the answers. Okay, the next one is the feminine. So let's look at the feminine. So the feminine question is sa ka. Sa ka. So sa ka, what is the sa bala? Yes, that is the girl. Right. Very good. All right. And tat kim. If we look at tat kim, what is the answer to tat kim?
Tat
what is that?
patram.
What is that? Neuter. Yes, tat patram. That is a pot. Excellent. Okay, great. All right, so these are easy. Okay, so now we have. I'm going to take, even though we did these questions that we just did, we did question 1, question 3, and question 5. Now we're going to do 2, 4, and 6. Sorry, we're not doing them in numerical order, the way they want us to do. But anyway, kaha gachati, ka tishtati, kim patati, right? So kaha gachati. Let's look at the first thing. What is the answer to what does kaha gachati mean first? Kaha gachati means
what goes.
Yeah, what goes. It means who or what goes, right? So in here, who or what goes? Masculine.
Gajaha gachati.
The elephant goes, exactly. Okay, so the next thing is we have ka tishtati means, what does that mean? Ka tishtati.
What stands?
Feminine. What stands feminine? What feminine thing stands? Ka tishtati. Okay, so what in the story, what is it? Bala tishtati, the girl stands. The girl stands. Very good. Okay, so then we have kim patati. Kim patati. What falls?
It will be patati. Patram patati.
Patram patati. The pot falls. Exactly. Very good. 100% right. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to decline the pronoun And now both nouns and pronouns are called shabdas. Verbs are called dhatus, and nouns are called shabdas. So nouns, pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, all sorts of pronouns, proper nouns, proper names, they're all shabdas, right? All verbs are. Even adjectives are considered nouns in Sanskrit. They're a type of noun, right? Because they take the same endings as nouns. So they're called also shabdas, right? Okay, so tad is the actual root word for that, tad. Now tad, it says tad or that, sabdasya. Sabdasya is the genitive singular of the word shabda, which means a word or a noun. So of the word tad, linga trayepi, api means thus, right? Trayepi, traye means three. Of the three genders, in the three genders, traye is locative, so it means in the three genders, right? In the three genders, the word tad, pratama vibhakti, in the nominative case, in three genders, we give the rupani, rupam means a form, so rupani means forms, the different forms of the word tad. So here is pumlinge, strilinge, napumsakalinge, which means masculine, feminine, and neuter. So here we have sa to te, sa te taha, tat te tani, right? This is singular, this is ekavachana, dvivachana, and bahuvachana. They haven't mentioned it here on top, but they should have. This is singular, dual, and plural, okay? So this is masculine, feminine, and neuter. So we should learn these. We have to learn these sa, saha, to, te. Sa, to, sa, te, taha, and tat, te, tani. These are the different forms. Okay, so don't bother memorizing them right now. You'll learn them as you just go along. Okay, so now that was kaha, ka, excuse me, that was ka and ka of the second one. Okay, so ga, the third section is tad sabdasya rupaihi vyakyani puriyata. So please take the dashes here and enter the form from up here, from this table up here. Put the right form in each of these, right? The right form in each of these sentences, and then we can explain them. Okay, so what was chutaha? Chutaha was a mango tree, right? Okay, chuta is a mango tree. So how do we say that is a mango tree? Something chutaha. So what is, first of all, chutaha? Saha chutaha. Yeah, because it's masculine singular, right? Now we can concentrate on this first vertical column here, right? In the forms, because we not learned dual and we haven't learned dual and plural forms yet. So it's sort of if you're smart and you realize that we haven't learned the dual and plural forms, then you'll know that they only want one of these three here. So the next thing is vataha. Vataha means a banyan tree. So vataha is, saha vataha, also masculine, right? Jati. Jati
so this
and
must
malti.
be feminine, so be sa jati.
These are feminine, even though they didn't tell us. There's a little bit of a lagging here in the book. They haven't given us any long I ending nouns, but the long I ending nouns are also feminine. Okay, so jati and malati is a flower, which we learned about yesterday in Hari Bhakti Vilas, and jati, not exactly sure. Maybe that means jasmine.
Okay.
Okay, so that would be feminine. It would be sa jati. As you said, did you say sa jati and sa malati, right?
Yes.
Again, I'm going here 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. Okay,
makes sense going that way.
Yeah, it makes more sense going that way because I've done this before. Okay, so a little bit cheating here by the teacher. So malati. Then we have two neuter words. They want you to go 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, and then you go a masculine, a feminine, and masculine and neuter, or feminine and
messes with
like
your
that.
brain.
Yeah, they want you to mix it up, but I've seen through their ploy here, and I've gone 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so 4 and 6 are kamalam and kusumam. Kusumam means a flower. It also means a flower. So it's going to be tat kamalam, tat kusumam.
Tat
right?
kusumam.
Yeah, this is a lotus. Oh, sorry, that is a lotus and that is a flower. Right. Now we're going to learn terminations for the present tense. So we have here on the side, this is ga. So this is ga, the fourth part of the lesson. So the terminations of the present tense are simple present tense. These are, by the way, these are parasmaipada endings. There are apanepada endings as well for apanepada verbs, but since we only learned parasmaipada verbs, we're going to learn these endings. And in fact, Panini makes it very simple, and he gives you 9 endings for all verbs, for all verbs, and you just change it a little bit for different tenses. And then so if you know Panini's system, it's actually a lot easier, but we don't know, so we're going to just learn these 9. So here on the side here we have pra, ma, and u, right? So they've put a dot next to them to show that those are abbreviations of some things. So these abbreviations mean pratama purusha, or pratama purusha. Pratama purusha means person. So you know in English how we have first person, second person, third person. First person means I am. Second person means you, or in Old English it would be thee, right? You singular, right? Second person singular. First person singular I. Second person singular you. Third person singular is he, she, or it, right? So then if we have dual and plural, we have I, you, singular, he, she, or it. We two, or we both, you both, they both. That's dual. Then we have we all, or we plural, you all, or you plural, and they all, or they plural, right? So those are the ways to translate those things, those pronouns, right, that go with these terminations, right? So here we have the verb gachati, or gach, right? And it's going to be conjugated. The different endings for the present tense are going to be put onto it. Here are the endings. And here are how they put on gach, right? So the endings are ti, taha, anti, si, taha, ta, mi, taha, maha, right? So we have gachati, right? Gachataha, gachanti, which then gachasi, gachataha, gachata, gachami, gachawaha, gachamaha, right? This is how you would conjugate gach in the present tense, parashmaipada, okay? So that means what? That means he, she, or it goes. Now, the way it works in English is we start I, you, he, right? But in Sanskrit, it goes he, she, or it, you, I is last, right? Being the self-effacing people who don't want the ahankara, or the in Sanskrit we always put I last. I comes last. Okay, so that this pratama purusha means third person. It's not an exact translation. Okay, so the third person in English is actually what's called pratama purusha in Sanskrit, or the first person in Sanskrit. The first person is another person in Sanskrit. It's not you. It's not I. So pratama purusha, he, she, or it. Madhyama purusha. So we have here pratama, madhyama, and uttama. Uttama means the ultimate person. Okay, there's a bit of false ego there. The ultimate person is I. All right. So anyhow, any way you want to remember it, but in Sanskrit, in English, how we say I am, you are, we are, right? Instead, he is, right? So in Sanskrit, I am, you are, he is, right? So that's how we say it in English. So in Sanskrit, we would say, first of all, he is, right? You, singular, are, and I am, like that. So here we have he, singular, dual, and plural. He, she, or it, singular, dual, and plural, go. You, singular, dual, and plural, go. And they, singular, plural, dual, plural, go. the singular of they is I. So here, gachati means he, she, or it goes. Gachataha means you, not you. He, they too go. They too go, or they both go. Gachanti means they all go, or they go, plural. Right? Gachasi means you singular, or thou goest, or you singular go. Right? You dual, you two go, or you both go. Right? Gachataha. And gachata means you all go, or you go, plural. And gachami means I go. Right? Gachavaha means we two go. We two go, or we both go. And gachamaha means we all go. Right? Or we plural go. Okay, so that's it for that lesson. That is the second lesson. It's a lot to remember. Okay, so now let's look at again. Are there any questions about that? It's a lot. It's like, a lot to remember, but don't try to remember it all. It'll just come after a little while. So now we have again, unless you have any questions about that. So then in lesson 2 of again, we have the alphabet, we have verbs in dual grammar, and we have some vocabulary, including the word for where. So this is very simple. We also already know the vowels in Devanagari, so this should be really easy. So here it says there are 25 consonants or stops. They're called stops in English. The reason why they're called stops is because these consonants are pronounced in the mouth by the tongue shooting out and touching different parts of the mouth, or laying flat in a certain position, and it stops. When we make the consonant, it stops, and air comes out of the mouth, and we make a particular sound. Now, in Sanskrit, they don't call them stops. In Sanskrit, they call these consonants sparsha. Sparsha means touched. So it refers to the tongue touching different parts of the mouth, right? And are arranged according to 5 points of articulation. The 5 points or places of articulation are called sthana. Sthana means a place. We get the word Tishtati, to stand, and also star, it means to stand, right? So sthana means a place. Sthana means a place, right? So we have sparsha, is a word for consonant, type of consonant, and sthana. Okay, so we're going to learn the different places in the mouth, right? The different groups of consonants. There are 25 consonants. These are the 25 sparshas. There are some other consonants in English and in Sanskrit, but we don't call them sparshas. These are called sparshas, these 25. Okay, so they're divided into five groups, which are called vargas, right? Families. And there's the guttural, there's the palatal, there's the cerebral or the retroflex, there's the dental, and there's the labial on the lips. Okay, so these are according to the different part of the mouth where they are pronounced, right? So first of all, if we start with kakagagana, there's a called kanta. Kanta means the throat. Like we have tulsi kanta, kantamala, right? A kantamala is a mala, a garland that we put on the throat, right? So kanta or kantya means it's pronounced in the throat, kanta, right? So then we have working from the back of the mouth to the front of the mouth, very scientific in Sanskrit, the alphabet. So kakagagana, those are all kanta, right? Then we have talu. Talu means palate. When the tongue is flat in the mouth and we just bounce the air coming out of the lungs off the palate, which is the top part, the roof of the mouth, right? We get the words that sound, which are palatal. Cha cha ja ja nya are palatal. They're called talu. So we have kanta and talu. Then we have on the top of the mouth or the roof of the mouth or the palate, when the tip of the tongue points up towards the roof of the mouth or the head, right? This is called murdan or murdanya, right? So okay, so murdan is the place. Murdanya means that type of. So here we have kantya. Kanta is the throat. Kantya means guttural. Talu is the palate. Talavya means palatal. Murdan is the roof of the mouth, right? And therefore murdanya means cerebral, right? Then we have pronounced on the back of the teeth or the tip of the teeth. It could be the back or the tip of the teeth or the avellar ridge, which is right behind the teeth. This is called danta or dental, right? Dental. So danta is dental, right? And then we have oshta. Oshta is on the lips, right? Oshta means lips. So we have the dentals are. So we have here kakagagana is the kantya, right? So then we have cha-cha-ja-ja-nya, talavya. Ta-ta-da-da-na is mudanya. Ta-ta-da-da-na is dantya. And pa-pa-ba-ba-ma is oshtya on the lips. Okay, these are the 5 places. You don't have to remember that. We're just going through it just for to know it. Okay, if you already know the Sanskrit alphabet, not a problem. Here are 5 sets or vargas, right? Varga means sets, arranged according to the point of articulation. For example, all consonants in the velar row. Velar row. So what does he call velar here? Interesting. He hasn't introduced the word velar here, but velar is just another name for throat here for the kantya. Okay, so in the velar row, right? Kavvaga. It's called Kavvaga. The set is named after the first member of the set in Sanskrit. So if I say to somebody Kavvaga, Kavvaga means all these 5. It means all the elements of the set of velas or gutturals, right? So Kakagagana is Kavvaga. Cha-cha-cha-cha-na is Chavarga, right? It's a set of cha. For example, all consonants in the velar row Kavvaga are pronounced in the throat. The labial row, right, which is the last one, oshtya, on the lips, right, are pronounced on the lips. So pa, pa, ba, ba, ma are all pronounced on the lips. And a short a, is added for the sake of pronunciation. So we know that when we write Devanagari, unless we put a halanta or a virama sign, there's an inherent a with every letter. So when we say the alphabet, we say an inherent a after every consonant. So we say ka, ka, ga, na, right? So okay, so here we have the Sanskrit alphabet. We have the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth members of each set, of each varga. So we have the kantya, talavya, mudanya, dantya, and oshtya, which are the velar or guttural, palatal, retroflex or cerebral, dental, and labial. I prefer guttural and cerebral, right, to velar and retroflex, but he is apparently using those terms, so that's what we'll go with here. I'll always mention that these are guttural and these are cerebral. Okay, so that we have 5 members of each. 5 members of each. Now the first member is unaspirated, means there's less air. Less air comes out of our mouth when we say them. So ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. Right? The second member of each varga, right, has more air. They're aspirated. So that we try to say them with more air coming out. And sometimes people who are English-speaking natives, right, they tend to say these second ones, they tend to put too much air into them, and they find it difficult to do the unaspirated ones, right? Aspiration means air, right? So we're going to add more air. So instead of ka, cha, ta, cha, pa, we say ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, and we add more air, right? So the difference between 1 and 2, the first and second members of each group is that the first are called unaspirated. The second are called aspirated. Now in Sanskrit, what is that? Aspiration is air. In Sanskrit, the word for air is prana. So we have 2 types of prana. We have alpa prana and mahaprana. You can guess what mahaprana is. Aspirated. It means more air. Big air. Mahaprana. And alpa prana means little air. So here we have, these are all alpa prana, the first column. The second column, this set will all be mahaprana. So these are, by the way, there's a difference between the first and second and the third and the fourth. The first and second are called unvoiced. Here he shows that all 3, the third, second, the third, fourth, and fifth columns are all considered voiced. Now, what's the difference between unvoiced and voiced? If we hold our Adam's apple, our voice box, right, and we say these letters, right, we will find that there is more vibration in the voiced letters, and there is less vibration in the unvoiced letters. So the first two columns, right, there'll be less vibration, and the third, fourth, and fifth columns, those three columns, there'll be more vibration. This is what we call unvoiced or voiced. And this is in Sanskrit, it's called Ghosh and Aghosh. We don't have to remember that. We just remember voiced and unvoiced. So now we have the third, fourth, and fifth. So now we have an unvoiced, unaspirated column. The second column is a unvoiced, aspirated column. The third is a voiced unaspirated column. The fourth is a voiced aspirated column. And finally, the fifth are all nasals. So let's have a look. So we have ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. Then we have ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. Then we have, again, unaspirated, ga, ja, da, da, pa. And if we aspirate it with more air, ga, ja, da, da, ba, right? And the fifth column is all nasals, na, nya, ra, na, and ma. This is a complete understanding of the sparshas, of the 25 consonant stops. Okay. So now, each set of English letters represents one Sanskrit sound. For example, GH is a single sound, is one sound. This G is a single sound. It is an aspirated, voiced, velar or guttural, right? So it's a guttural. We know it's in the guttural family. We know it's also aspirated because we see the H. When you put the H there, it means it's aspirated, right? And it's voiced because it's not ka, it's G, right? So it's voiced. There's more vibration of the vocal cords. Okay, so the sound ka is called kakara, right? So kara means a marker or a sign. The word kara, K long A R A, kara. Kara means a sign. Now, I remind you, we already know this word, kara. It means sign. For instance, we have the word swastikara or swastika. In English, we know this word swastika is that symbol that represents Ganesh sometimes, or it represents the birth and death, the wheel of birth and death of samsara, right? Swastika, it's like a bent cross, like that, okay? So it was used by the Nazis in Germany in the Second World War as a symbol, okay? Swastika. Actually, it means in Sanskrit, swasti means auspicious, and kara means sign or marker. So it's an auspicious sign. It's a sign of auspiciousness, a swasti kara. So similarly, we say, what is the sign for the sound ka? The sign for the sound ka is kakara, kakara. So when we refer to the letter ka, we will say kakara. When we refer to the letter pa, we will say pakara. When we refer, here says the sound ga is called gakara, the marker for ga, and so on, right? So we have kakara, chakara, takara, like this, all karas, right? There's only one exception to this rule of saying the name of the letter, and that is the letter R. The letter R in Sanskrit is called refa. It's called refa, repa. For some reason, it's not called rakara, right? The only exception to this is that rakara. If you say rakara, you're showing your ignorance. That everybody knows in Sanskrit that rakara, every other letter is called this kara, that kara. But R is not called rakara. It's called repa, which means snarl. In the next lesson, we will learn this letter R. So each row is divided into 5 sounds. The first, pratama, the second, dvitiya, the third, tritiya, the fourth, chaturta, and the fifth, panchama. So these are simply the ordinal numbers. There are cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers. So a cardinal number would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An ordinal number would be first, second, third, fourth, or fifth. This is what we say cardinal and ordinal numbers. So the order is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Order means ordinal numbers. Cardinal numbers means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So here we're learning the names in Sanskrit of the ordinals. So first, second, third, fourth, and fifth are Pratama, Dutiya, Tritiya, Chaturtha, and Panchama. This is how we say first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. For example, Ka, Cha, Ta, Ta, Pa are all in the first rows. So they are all considered Pratama, right? Okay, so now we have some sounds are aspirated. Mahaprana, as I mentioned. More breath is used in pronouncing these sounds. Some are unaspirated, Alpaprana, right? Some are voiced. The ones which are voiced are Gosha, Goshavat. Goshavat, the word vat or van means having or possessing something, right? Bhagavan means possessor of all bhaga, all good qualities, right? So Goshavat or Goshavan means possessing Gosha. Gosha means voice, possessing more vibration in the vocal cords. So some are called Goshavat, right? And some are called Agoshavat. So here he said Gosha. He's put Goshavat, but we can say Gosha or Agosha, right? Means voice, the last three columns of voice, right? Ga, ga, na, these are voiced, right? And the ka, ka are unvoiced, right? So the na, nya, na, and ma are called nasals. Nasals are called in Sanskrit anunasika, nasika, or they can just be called nasika. Nasika refers to the nose. So when we use not just the mouth, but we also use the nose to make a sound, it's considered a nasal, right? So these are the 5 nasals. Now, here is how the consonants are pronounced. Okay, so we don't really we can go through this very quickly, right? But maybe we'll just skip this because we already know how to pronounce the Sanskrit alphabet. You can look at it later on and you can figure out how to do it. In English, we normally pronounce the T and D somewhere between the 2 groups, retroflex and dental, or cerebral and dental. Okay, so if you want to know the difference between the cerebrals and the dentals, right? The T's and the D's, the ones with the dot under them are cerebral, the ones with the no dot under them in transliteration are dental. So if we want to know the difference in pronunciation for an English-speaking person, right, that the tongue touches the tip of the teeth for the dental, and the tongue touches the top of the palate for the cerebral, right? Now, we in English-speaking people usually put the tongue somewhere in between when we say T and D. The tongue goes on that ridge behind the teeth, right, just above the teeth, but not the top of the palate, right? So that is called the avelar ridge, and that's where you pronounce your T's and D's if you're an English-speaking native, usually. Okay, so that's what he's saying here. Okay, so here he's explained more about how to pronounce them. In Vedic Sanskrit, there are some other letters. Not exactly sure how to pronounce these letters, but anyway, they're written here as da and da with vowels on both sides. Have vowels when da and da, which are the ones that we've already learned, the cerebral voiced consonants, right? Both unaspirated and aspirated, right? Da and da, right? When they have vowels on either side of them in words, they are changed in Vedic Sanskrit to this special type of L, right? This is not a vowel, a vocalic L. It's an actual Vedic letter, right? So for instance, we have Agnimi Ile. Agnimi Ile is the very first verse in the Rig Veda, right? Which he mentions down here. Agnimi Ide, right? But because it's actually Agnimi Ide, right? But in the Rig Samhita, it's written as Agnimi Ile. It's an L, which is like a cerebral L. La. Okay, and in Tamil we have it even further back L, where you even swallow the tongue even further. The tongue tip goes back like the L in Arwa or Tamil, where the L is even further back. But that's another thing. So that's in Vedic Sanskrit. Most of us are not dealing with Vedic Sanskrit, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So when used, is that the example used is that when white has crimson on both sides, the white changes in color slightly. So he's trying to give an example, an analogy here about how this letter changes in Vedic Sanskrit when it has vowels on either side of it. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so here we have some forms of re and re, right? These are vocalic R and vocalic L. We were just talking about another type of L, not the vocalic L, right? So we're talking about a Vedic L. So here we have the forms in Devanagari and how to write them with the different strokes and which stroke to do first and second and third, etc. So these are actually very complicated ways of writing re, initial re and re. And there's an easier way to write these, which if anybody wants to know, I can teach them. Okay, so we have A, I, O, ow. These are also the older forms of the O and ow, which look like the Calcutta fonts. When we see books that are printed in Calcutta, sometimes they have this type of A, and the rest of India tend to use the A that looks more like a 3, number 3, like that. Okay, so then it's just a different form of Devanagari. We should be able to read all forms of Devanagari. There are many different forms of Devanagari. If you look at Wikipedia, you can see there's Nandi Nagari, there's just Nagari, there's Devanagari. There's a few different forms over the centuries of Devanagari. So when we start looking at manuscripts, or we start looking at some books which are printed very long time ago, they use different font typefaces. So we should be able to read all of them. Okay, so now grammar, right? Unlike English, Sanskrit has got dual verbs. The dual dvivachana is formed like this. So we have third person, second person, and third person, second person, and first person. Now remember, already here and again, is we already learned the singular verbs. So we learned gachami. I think we learned gachami, gachasi, and gachanti. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, so here he's learning it like this. In the other book, we learned to all 9 forms of the verb. Here we're learning 3 by 3. Okay, no problem. So here we're talking about dual, right? So gachataha, gachapas, the tas turns into taha through sandhi. That those 2 go. Gachataha, right? You 2 go. Right? Gachavaha, long A, gachavaha, we 2 go. So here we learn to pronounce visarga in the next lesson. So in the next lesson, he's going to talk about the how to pronounce visarga, which gives a slight echo. Right? Note that the ending tas becomes taha when it forms a verb. This change is because of sandhi is applied. So the word sandhi means joining. So sandhi is applied. See the following page for an introduction to sandhi. In English, and just stop me if anything is too difficult to understand. In English, interrogative words usually start with WH. Like we say, who, what, when, where, why. Who, what, when, where, why, all begin with WH, right? So in Sanskrit, interrogative words or words that start a sentence or show us that we're asking a question, start a question, or show us that there's a question, begin with K. So we have kaha, we have kutra, we have kasmai, we have many different words in Sanskrit like we have in English, and they all begin with K to show that there's a question. So in Sanskrit, interrogative words means a word that indicates that there's a question being asked, right? Interrogative words usually begin with K. The word for where is kutra. So if I say kutras tvamayasi, it means where have you come from, right? Kutra, where? Or if I say kutra something, where is the book? Kutra pustika, right? Okay, so it is usually placed at the beginning of a sentence, but not always. Sanskrit sentence, the order of words in sentence doesn't really matter because the words relate to each other because of the different endings on them. So there is some word order in Sanskrit, but it can be somewhat changeable, right? So anyway, so it says here kutra, the word, any interrogative word is usually placed at the beginning of a sentence to make it a question. The other words, now remember, there's no question mark, right? So because there's no punctuation to show that there's a question, you have to use a word like this to show that there's a question being asked. It is usually placed at the beginning of a sentence. The other words do not need to be rearranged to make a question out of the sentence. For example, we know what gachati means. Gachati means he is going. He, she, or it goes, right? He, she, or it is going, or he, she, or it goes. So if we just put kutra in front of it, it means kutra means where. So it means where is he going, or where is she going, or where is it going, right? Right. So that's how we form a question. So now we can form questions. So at this point, what one teachers will do is they'll insist that the students ask all their questions in Sanskrit, but I'm not going to do that. So now we know how to make questions. So we know how to make statements, and we know how now to make questions. Translate kutra gachati into English. First write where for kutra, where for kutra, then write he goes for gachati, right? He goes means he goes, she goes, it goes, right? So literally it would be translated as where he goes. However, it's important to form correct English sentences. For where he goes, you must write where is he going, or where does he go in English. Okay, so that's how we would translate. Okay. So now we have some vocabulary. Our vocabulary for lesson 2 is kutra, first one, and it's an indeclinable. I'm always very happy when I find an indeclinable. What it means is that we don't have to add any sort of endings to it. You just use it by itself. So you can remember kutra as it is, and you don't ever have to change it in any way. So it means where. Now we're introducing some roots, some dhatus, some verbs. So the first one, when we see the root sign, the square root sign, which is a mathematical symbol, it shows that this is a root, this is a dhatu, and he's written here root. And usually when you learn a verb, you learn the root, and you learn the verb is usually given also in the third person singular present tense, right? Third person singular, right? What we call pratama purusha ekvachana in Sanskrit. Pratama purusha is actually third person in English. Okay, so it means he is or he becomes, right? You are, I am, right? It would be in the other forms, right? So here we have boo, right? Boo. Boo is the boo bhavati, bhavataha, bhavanti, bhavasi, bhavataha, bhavata, bhavami, bhavaha, bhavamaha is how we conjugate the verb boo. Now, to be. So then we have vas. Vasati means to dwell or to live, right? He lives here, or he dwells here, right? So we have vas is the root, vasati. See, boo bhavati, vas vasati. Third person singular, he lives, he, she, or it lives. So it would, again, conjugating it fully in the present tense. Vasati, vasataha, vasanti, vasati, vasata, vasataha, vasataha, vasata, vasami, vasavaha, vasamaha. Right. These are all the different conjugations of vas. Then we have smri. Smri becomes smart, smarty, smarty. So remember, we have these types of scriptures called smritis. Smritis means to remember, right? We have shrutis, which means to hear. So shruyate means he hears. Shruti, right? So shru means to hear. Shmri means to remember. So shmri becomes smar. When the root becomes the base of the word, it becomes smar, and we add t to it, which is the third person singular ending, right? Or pratama purusha ekvachana, right? We add that. It means he or she or it remembers. Right? So to fully conjugate shmar, right? Shmri, right? Which is the root, and shmar, which is the base, which is the modified root, which we add the endings to, right? We get shmarati, shmarataha, shmaranti, smarasi, smarashta, smarata, shmarami, shmaramaha, shmaramaha. Yeah? Okay, now we'll introduce Sunday. Sunday, before doing exercises, we will have an introduction to Sunday, right? Now, we say Sunday in English, right? But actually the word is he's put it here with the anushwara. Anushwara is the M with the dot under it, right? Samdhi, right? So it means sandhi. It means how sounds are combined, either within a word, between the word and the ending of the word, or within two words in a sentence or in a paragraph, right? So the rules of how sounds are combined. In English, we say an apple, but we say a pear. So when we use the indefinite article, there are two articles. There are two words called articles in English. We don't have them in Sanskrit, right? In English, we have a pear and the pear, right? So a pear is called the indefinite article because we're not saying which one it is. We're just saying anyone, a one, a pear. But when we say a particular pear, the one on the table, we say the pear. So that is called the definite article. So when you're being indefinite in English, you say a thing. When you're being definite about something, you say the thing, right? So that is indefinite and definite articles. I'm explaining the English grammatical terms to you also, so you know this. Anybody who's studied any foreign language, right, will know all these grammatical terms. But if you haven't formally studied a foreign language, you will not probably know, or even English, you will not probably know the formal grammatical terms, or maybe you've forgotten them from school, whatever it is. So there's the indefinite and definite articles, so A and B. So here he's talking about when we add, in English, when we say a pear, we say a pear. But see, the word apple starts with an A. So it's very difficult. We don't say a apple in English. We add an N to the A. We say an apple. We don't, whenever there's a vowel that begins a noun in English. So for instance, elephant starts with an E. We don't say a elephant. We say an elephant. We add an N to the A, right? So that is a type of sandhi in English. So we think that there's no sandhi in English, but actually there is sandhi in English. There's sandhi in every language. The only thing is, in Sanskrit, we talk about it more, and there are rules. There are actually important rules to follow. There are rules in English too. The rule of a and an is that if the noun begins in a vowel, right, we have to say an. There are some exceptions also. For instance, the word hour, H-O-U-R, begins with a consonant, H. But we don't say a hour, we say an hour. That's an exception, okay? So there are also exceptions to the rules. So there are rules and exceptions to the rules. Here he's trying to explain to you with this analogy of a pear or an apple or an elephant that we have sandhi in English also, and try to understand the concept of sandhi. The word the is often pronounced differently depending upon the following word. For example, the house, or the other house. Somehow or other, the sound of the is a little bit different, right? When it's followed by a consonant or when it's followed by a vowel. Some sounds are modified according to their phonetic environment. In Sanskrit, many sounds make these same changes, and unlike English, all of these changes are written, right? So sometimes he's saying in English, sometimes we make it, we don't change the word by adding like an N to a and it becomes an, right? But we do it just with the different sound to the. The becomes the instead of the, right? So the house, the other house. You hear the difference? If I can say the house, but normally we don't say the house, we say the house. Whereas we say the other house, we can't say the other house. Or it would be difficult to say the other house. Anyway, it's just an example. Don't get too hung up on it, right? So the point being here is that sometimes we don't see the change in a letter, like in between a and an, but we see simply the change in sound in English. In Sanskrit, we always see the change in the letter. We actually see the change in sandhi, right? In Sanskrit, many sounds make these same changes, but unlike English, all of them, the changes are written. The rules for these changes are called sandhi. which means junction or putting together or combination. Sandhi is now an English word and appears in most English dictionaries. The Sanskrit word is samdi, with an anushwara in the beginning. If you want to look it up in the Sanskrit dictionary, you need to write it this way, samdi. So now the exercises in lesson 1 are written the same even after Sandhi rules have been applied. However, in lesson 2, the sentences would be written differently if they were to appear in a Sanskrit text. So he's just warning you that the lessons that we're going to do now, the exercises, at this point, however, we do not need to learn these rules. Just observe the sentences in parentheses and notice. So he's going to give in brackets. He's going to give the same sentences in brackets, and notice that these sentences are written slightly differently with Sandhi. So in these in these exercises, he's going to show some sentences, and he's going to show them before and after the Sandhi rules are applied to them in Sanskrit. We haven't learned the Sandhi rules yet, but we're introducing the idea of Sandhi. So he's going to show you what it's like without Sandhi and with Sandhi. Okay, so learn the 5 sets of consonants in order and their pronunciation. Learn to write the last 7 vowels in Devanagari. Okay, we already know how to do that. Be able to identify each consonant by its classification. For example, the aspirated voice palatal, ja. Okay, so I'm not going to quiz people on that, right? It's up to you to learn the alphabet and learn. If I say, can you pronounce the letter which is the aspirated voice palatal, you have to say ja. And that is not going to spring to your mind immediately. So it's something that you don't really need to know. But you need to be able to say, if I say to you a letter, you have to tell me whether that's voiced or unvoiced, whether it's a nasal, whether it's alpapran or mahapran, whether it's aspirated or unaspirated. So, you need to know that classification, right? But we won't have any tests on it. Learn the dual endings of verbs. Okay, so we already learned singular, dual, and plural. Pratama Purusha, Dvitiya Purusha, Madhyama Purusha, and Uttama Purusha, or third person, second person, and first person in English. We already learned that in our other reader, infant reader. Now learn the vocabulary. We already learned the vocabulary, which is very simple. Let's go over it again. Kutra means where, it's an indeclinable. Bu means to be or to become. Vas means to dwell or to live. Smar means to remember. Right? Okay. These are three verbs. Now he's going to say, translate these sentences using the summary sheet on page 17. Okay, so what page are we on? We're on page 15. We'll have a look at page 17. But here it says, just observe the sentences in parentheses with Sandhi. See page 14, right? So we just touched on Sandhi. The answers are given on page 243 and 244. Okay, so here we have Kutra Vasavaha, right? Which is the same with Sandhi and without Sandhi. So this is it without Sandhi, and this is it with Sandhi, right? So what does Kutra Vasavaha mean?
I'm thinking where do they live to? Because we did dual, right?
Okay, yeah. Let's look at this. It's Vaha, right? So it would be we two something. It's not go, it's we two dwell. So what does Vasavaha mean? Vasavaha means we two dwell, right?
So where do we two dwell?
So yes, where do we two live? Where do we do live? Where do we two live? Mm-hmm. Now we have, yeah, it's not that hard actually. You're going to learn. But anyway, so Bhavasi, the next one B is Bhavasi cha, Bhavavaha cha. Now remember what cha was? Cha was and, right? Now look in the Sandhi here. Bhavasi cha, Bhavavaha cha becomes Bhavasi cha, Bhavavas cha. So we see here what he's introduced the first Sandhi rule, right? He hasn't given the rule for it yet, so therefore he's just showing you that it can change. So when the visarga is followed by a C, it turns into this powerful S. Yeah. So S with an acute accent is a powerful S, right? Okay. So Bhavasi Bhavasi, right, was singular. But the word boo becomes bhav, right? And then bhav, you add the ending to it. Bhavasi is you singular. You singular are. You are. You are.
And
you are. Bhavasi means you are. And what does bhavavaha mean? We just know what vasavaha means. What's bhavavaha?
You two are.
You two are. You two are. You are singular. You are, and you two are. That's a pretty dumb sentence, but that's what it means. you are, and you two are. You are, and you two are. Okay, that's me. Right now, Vasami Smarata Hacha. It's going to get better. He's taking you step by step here. Vasami means Vasami is what? And what? And can you explain to me Vasami? Vasami is the root vas, right? With the ending ami, right? And the ending is first person in English. What is that in Sanskrit? It is Uttama Purusha. Purusha, and it's singular, ekavachana. So the Uttama Purusha ekvachana of vas is vasami. It means I dwell.
I live.
Right? I live or I dwell. Right? I live in a hut. There's my hut. I live in that hut. I live in the hut. Right? So I dwell. Right? Vasami. And then smarataha. Smarataha. Let's see what smarataha means.
And you to remember.
Right. Smarataha means, right? It means not you, but they, those two, or they two, smarataha. Right?
They to remember.
Did he say smarataha? Smarataha. But the Sami, I live, right? Mm-hmm. And cha, they remember. I live and they remember. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. Now let's look at the Sandhi version. The Sandhi version, again, the same Sandhi here. The Visarga followed by the C in the next word turns into the palatal S. Okay? So now D. D is prachataha. Right?
What does
right? Prachataha. Prich means to ask, right? Prich.
Okay.
Is it there? Guess what? Big mistake. Was it? It's not there. Was it in our first lesson?
I think it was, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's expecting us to have a memory as well. All right. So we're supposed to remember last week, right? Prichamaha, right? So let's get back to that. Where are we? Okay. So prichataha, right? So ataha, what is the ataha? Ataha is what? Ataha is, let's see. With the see that we've got ataha here, but when it's aspirated, ataha, right? When it's ta, right? What it means you too, or you both, right? So prichataha means you both ask. You both ask. You both ask, or you two ask, right? And smarti. No, smart. That would be smarami. No.
And he remembers.
Yes, he, she, or it remembers. Yes, it had to be one of those, right? You got it last. You got it on the last try, so you get less points, but you still get some points because you answered the question. Okay, so prichataha cha smarati cha smarti cha. Okay.
Yeah. Prichatas cha smarti cha.
Prichatas cha smarti cha. Yes. So again. What do we say? You two, or you both ask, and he remembers.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the next one is gachavaha. So now we should start learning conjugation. So it's gachati, gachataha, gachanti, gachasi, gachata, gachata, gachami, gachavaha, gachamaha. In the infant reader, we learned that, right? So gachavaha.
So it's dual, right? So you two.
Yeah, but it's not you. Look up here. Look up here again. What is it?
We two go.
It's we. Yeah, we two or we both. Okay, so not you, but we. Where were we? Okay. Are we here?
Gachavaha. Okay, no, we're before that. Yeah, I think.
Do we do? No. Okay, we've gone too far here. Okay, so here it is. Kutra means where. Gachavaha is we.
Where we go.
two go, or we both go. Where we both go. So what does it actually mean? It actually means, where are we both going? Where are we both going? Or where do we both go? That's how we have to translate it in English. Yeah? Got it? Okay. So now next one is Bhavami. Bhavami is easy. Bhu Bhavami.
Where am I?
Bhavati. I'll say it. Bhavati, Bhavataha, Bhavanti, Bhavasi, Bhavata, Bhavata, Bhavami, Bhavawaha, Bhavamaha. So Bhavami is what? It's Uttama Purusha. Uttama Purusha means first person in English. First person in English.
Yeah, so where,
first person singular.
Where am I?
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? Kutra Bhavami. Right? Okay, next one. Then Kutra Gachami.
Where am I going? Where am I going?
Excellent. Okay, so now we have Prachami Cha Smarati Cha.
I'm asking and he's remembering.
Yes, I'm asking and he's remembering. Right, so I'm asking and you're remembering. He's remembering, right. So Vasavi, Vasasi and Gachavaha. Cha Gachavaha Cha.
You live and
you singular live.
They two go. Or they both go. Or we both go. That's the one, not so.
Okay, three guesses. Let's see which one is correct. Gachavaha, we.
Both go. Yeah, we both go.
Remember when you see this, here's a rule of thumb to remember. Avaha. Va, we. Va, we. Whenever you see va, it's we.
Okay.
Little trick, okay? Va is we. When you see ta, it's they. Right? They too. When you see taha, it's you
both.
too. Yeah. Okay.
Because if you notice as both, that will make more sense to the brain.
Yeah. You both, you two go, you both go. Yeah, whatever it is. Dual, you're not going to see a lot. You're going to see more singular and plural. Okay. So where were we? Prachami and Prachami. Okay, so Vasasi and Gachavaha, we did that. Kutra Gachasi.
Where are you going?
Where are you singular going? Yes. Where do you go? Singular. Or where dost thou go? Is in Old English. Yeah? Where dost thou go? Kutra Gachasi. Okay, so now comes the hard part. Now let's do it. Let's do it English to Sanskrit. Can we do this? Kutra. With an aspirated H, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Gachataha.
Kutra Gachataha.
Yes. Kutra Gachataha. Yes. So now I live, and they too live.
Vasami cha. Vasa.
Also vas, two vases. Vasami and Vasami cha and
Vasataha.
Vasataha with the unaspirated. Vasata. Yeah, I live and they too live, or they both live, right? So we two ask.
Okay. Let me just go back to the top again and look at that. It's taha, avaha. So
see up here. So we have taha, right? This is third person, right? They. This is they. They too.
Yeah, taha is they.
So, okay, think about it. It's much easier to remember the whole conjugation. Gachati, gachataha, gachami, gachasi. That's he, they. Gachasi, gachataha, gachata, gachami, gachavaha, gachamaha. Okay, so we're just learning the dual here. Okay, so right, got it. Okay, so let's go back. What he's suggesting that you look at page 17 while you're doing this. There's your summary sheet. I'm not letting you do that. Okay, I'm not.
Okay.
I should do that. I should let you look at this so that you know when you do it. He says, look at this page 17 while you're doing this. Yeah, he's given you the full, all the verbs and all the indeclinables that you should know up until now, and then he's made it simple. He hasn't put it in Devanagari. He's done it in a very simple way. So you should look at page 17 when you're doing this, but we can't do it on Zoom, so we're going to go back. And where is it? So where are we up to? We two ask, and those two remember. Did we do that?
No, I live and those two live.
Did we do
Where
we two ask?
I don't think we didn't even do. I think it's where are you two living? No, where are you two going? We did that one definitely. I live and those two live. We said that is.
We said that, yeah. Two.
Yeah. Okay.
We two ask. We two ask is first of all it's
which is we both. So it's prichavaha.
No.
Both.
We two. Yes. Prichavaha.
Prichavaha. Cha.
Prichavaha. Cha.
And those two remember. So that would be
they two.
Smarataha. Prichavaha.
Smarataha. Unaspirated. Smarataha. Cha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go when he says you, take it as singular. Take it as singular unless he shows it's dual or plural. Show it.
So it's
think of it as singular. Gotcha see cha.
And he goes, it will be
Gotcha tea.
Gotcha tea, exactly.
So it's gotcha see cha, gotcha tea cha, or it could be gotcha tea cha.
Yes.
Right. Good.
Gotcha tea.
Okay,
I forgot all about gotcha tea.
Where am I going? Where am I going here?
Kutra.
Gutch.
Kutra, and it's gachami.
Gachami, kutra gachami. Very good. So now we have
Bhavami,
I am.
Bhavami cha, and it will be you both are.
You both.
You two are. So bhavataha. Yeah.
Gachami
cha bhavataha cha.
Gachami cha bhavataha cha. Or bhavatas cha, if we want to put the sandhi in.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Bhavatas cha. Exactly.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet. So we don't have to bother about that. Extra points for that. Okay, very good.
Putra,
where are you? Where are you, singular?
Kutra
is the verb to be. So it's bhavati, bhavataha, bhavati, bhavasi.
Kutra bhavasi.
Yeah, kutra bhavasi. Kutra bhavasi. So if I'm walking in the forest, kutra bhavasi, I'm looking for somebody. I say, where are you? Kutra bhavasi. Right. Where is he going?
Kutra gachati.
Yeah, gachati. Gachati means he goes. So where is he going? Kutra gachati. Where's he going? Yeah. Kutra gachati. Where's she going? Where's it going? Right, like that. That's it. There's a summary sheet. Right? Of all the vocabulary that we've learned so far, which is 2, 4, 5 verbs and 2 indeclinables. And this is the summary of the verb endings that we've known. Now, from the other book, we've actually learned the plural as well. Here he's showing us the singular and the dual, right? The singular and the dual. I go, you go, he goes, we go, we two go, you two go, they go, right? He's showing a singular, dual, and plural. But he's showing a singular and dual. He's not showing us the plural. So it should be gachati, gachataha, gachanti. Gachasi, gachataha, gachataha. Gachami, gachavaha, gachamaha. Right?
And that's how all verbs, they end like that.
Okay, that's all verbs in the present tense continuous. We've learned basically the present tense, active, continuous present tense, and that's good.